Hey, my name's J.C. McCauley, and I want to really encourage you to take time out of your schedule and watch Artistic Expressions. I mean, they're going to give you all the information you need to know about the art scene here in Greater Hartford, in Connecticut, in fact, in New England. I'm sure they're going to have some guests from around the country, and maybe even some international guests. So check it out on your local TV station, Artistic Expressions, with George, my man, Milner.
Good afternoon and welcome to Artistic Expressions. I'm your host, Michelle Thomas, and today we have a special guest. We have TT Soul, a local musician, and we're going to hear all about his work and what he does and hear some music from him. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Hold your head as high as you can, high enough to see who you are, little man. Life sometimes is cold and cruel, maybe no one else will tell you, so remember that you are black gold, black gold. You are black gold.
Welcome back to Artistic Expressions. I'm your host, Michelle Thomas. And with me is TT Soul. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited to hear about what you do, and I'm definitely excited to hear some of the music that you're going to play for us.
Okay.
So,
I think we'll have fun. Well, to start out, let me just tell you that, first of all, I started performing at an early age.
okay.
I was born here in Hartford and raised in the square.
Okay.
But I started performing, I started playing when I was like 4 years old, playing keyboard.
Yes.
But I started playing professionally when I was like 12 years old.
Really?
I started playing with a group out of New Britain. They were called Musette and the Swans. I started playing early, and when I did start playing, I was playing in church, but churches didn't like the way that I played because I didn't play traditionally.
Okay.
And I didn't play like most church organists
Yes.
play. I was out in left field somewhere. You know, I was doing stuff that
Were you adding a little more excitement to it,
yeah,
or a little flavor?
I didn't do it the same way.
Right.
Of course, I taught myself. I never took a lesson.
Oh, so you didn't have any formal
I had
teaching?
no formal
And so it
training.
was all by ear?
Yes.
Okay.
But when I would play, most churches that I played for, they didn't like the way that I played. So when I was 12 years old, I started performing professionally in nightclubs.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, I always had a chauffeur or somebody that back in that time. I'm not going to give my age out, but at least 27 right now.
Exactly.
But back in that time, it wasn't unusual, for somebody to be in a club performing,
Right.
But I traveled. I did a lot of traveling. I played with such artists as Little Johnny Taylor, Syl Austin. A lot of people probably haven't heard of these people, but Syl Austin, Little Johnny Taylor. I've been on shows with Etta James,
wow.
Temptations,
Yeah.
Walter Jackson. In fact, I lived out in Hollywood for a while, and I was in the studio with Jermaine Jackson, Michael Jackson's brother.
How was
But
that?
Well, that was, it was a learning experience. I can tell you
Right.
that. It was something that I gained a lot of knowledge as far as recording and
Right. I would imagine the insight into just the music world and what it takes.
But my musical career spans over. Let me not.
Some years. Some years.
Yeah. But in the interim, I was in and out of church.
Yes.
As a lot of people were. I was playing playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't in and I wasn't out. But
at 12, playing professionally, you're playing by ear, it's coming from you. Were you prideful at that time in your life, or not so
Was I
much? Prideful. Did you feel like, this came from you, or at that time, or no?
No, I knew where it came from.
Okay.
It's just that it was exciting. I knew from a young age that that's what I was going to do anyway. Because I mean, back in the day, there used to be a place in Hartford called the State Theater on Windsor Street, and a bunch of us used to get together and chip in and buy a ticket and purchase a ticket. One person would go in and open the door, and we'd all run in
Everybody go in.
and scatter. But when those lights came on, most back in that time, all the big stars came through through Hartford at that time to a place called State Theater, and when those lights came on and those curtains opened up, I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I, from that point, I pursued the entertainment field.
Yeah.
But the person that I looked up to, and the person that I did my shows and after, was James Brown.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So that's who I fashioned myself after.
Why? What drew you?
Because
to him?
he was exciting. He was an
Yeah.
exciting performer. He was dynamic. He was influential. He had pizzazz.
Yeah, flair, right?
Yeah, and that, but he was clean from top to bottom, and that's and back in that time, that's what I patterned myself after, and that's what I wanted to do. So as I performed with the band, at one point the MIDI came into being. MIDI is a term that describes it's called musical instrument digital interface, where an individual can take one instrument and it has an interface where you can play several, program your whole orchestration around it. You've heard?
Yes.
So what I did was I performed. I was around in this area. I performed, and I had my shows on disc. And I would push a button, and I had programmed all the instrumentation, all the horns and all the string sections and all the drums and everything was programmed on there, and I would do my show. But I'd go out and I'd do 2 1-hour shows. Right now, I plan on doing that again, but not at this particular time.
Yeah. So when you as you were growing up, did you take to, several people, or did you enjoy kind of this pursuit, a solo pursuit, or how did?
Well, like I said, eventually I got to the solo pursuit, and I got to the solo pursuit because it got tedious to try to have someone with you that would not follow instructions, that would not be part of the vision.
Right.
So I had an agent. I would be booked all over the place, and at one point I had a couple of musicians with me that they didn't understand the workings of being on the road.
Right.
And everything that we had was comp.
Okay.
It was complimentary.
Yeah.
And they didn't understand that by them signing the check that they weren't paying for it. So that I had a couple of people that were with me that they, instead of signing the check, because these people had to account for the food that they were giving, that they were giving away. Instead of them signing the check, they would take the check, rip it up, and put it under, throw it under the table or whatnot.
Yeah.
And this all got back to my agent, and I had to. So then once those types of things started happening, I had to figure out, well, I've got to continue to do my thing. So I started doing the single.
Yeah. I can imagine it being challenging. I mean, just groups, in and of themselves, it's hard to keep them together.
Yeah,
You're dealing with everyone else's schedule and their tastes or dislikes or whatever it is.
It's very difficult. I mean, I would love to have, even on the program that I have, I would love to have other musicians to come on and play with me. But it's difficult because when you talk about musicians, most musicians have an ego problem. Most musicians, they have an ego problem, and they want their ideas and their way to be heard. I think it should go this way. I can remember when I did my first recording with the Swans. I was just a keyboard player,
right.
But I was wondering why. I was asking the question, and I was young. I was asking why isn't it me the one? I should be the one that's recording this song. And it was always me in the background just playing the keyboards.
Right.
But that ego thing was there.
Right. I want to be center. I want to
Yeah.
How come not in the front?
Well, I was the one that was doing the I was the teacher. Yeah. I was teaching the bass player. I was teaching them how to play. And when the songs had to be, when they had to be rehearsed, I had to tell the bass player, okay, this is the note you're playing. This is how you play it. Because I play several instruments.
Right.
But my main instrument is keyboards, of course.
What other instruments do you play?
Bass, guitar,
Bass.
Saxophone, clarinet.
Really? And this is all self-taught, just once you pick it up, you just... Yeah. Okay. And what about guitar?
Yeah, guitar.
Yeah. If you play keyboard, you gotta play some guitar.
Well, I didn't pursue those instruments as I did the keyboard, because sometimes I wish I had.
Yeah.
But if because of the musical knowledge that I have, if I wanted to even right now, I could do it because I know what it takes to do it. Well, a lot of people don't understand. I've had people come to me and say, can you teach me how to do this, or can you teach me how to do that? Can you teach me how to play keyboards? And they don't understand the dedication that is required. They don't understand that you have to. Even right now, I have to practice. Sometimes I have to practice right now, today. I have to practice sometimes 8 hours a day, and that's realistically speaking.
Right.
I have to sit and I have to practice, and sometimes I get upset and frustrated with myself because I'm not getting it right the way I want it. Because I play by ear, and if it doesn't sound, if the tonation, if I'm singing and the tonation is not right, if I'm singing if the articulation is not right, I get frustrated with myself because I'm harder on myself than I would be on someone else. But most people don't understand what it takes to do it. So when they come and they ask, can you teach me how to do that? They don't understand that I'm a person, I'm a demanding person, and if I say I need you to practice this,
you gonna do your homework?
That's what I'm saying. If I need you to practice it, they don't understand that when they come back the next week, I can tell.
You don't know if they practice.
I can tell.
You played 5 minutes before you came to rehearsal.
You didn't do
that.
No. But and what people don't understand is that what a lot of people don't understand is that when you're talking about wanting to be involved in music, you're competing with, you have to compare yourself to the best. You have to take yourself and you have to say that's my mark. Mm-hmm. And that's where I want to be.
Create a standard, I would imagine.
Yeah, you have to. What I found in the church field is that most don't take it seriously enough to say I'm going to dedicate myself. I'm going to be hard on myself.
Right.
I'm going to hit that note. Right. I'm going to hit that riff. And sometimes people take sometimes less is more. Yeah. And a lot of times people put a lot of riffs in something. And they think that that's what it is. And instead of saying, precious Lord, but instead of smoothing it out and making it smooth, they think that because they think if they put a lot of riff to it, that's going to get the attention. You have to be hard on. You have to be your worst critic. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a lot. I mean, I'm even for me doing painting, or someone will ask, to teach them to paint. It's the same exact thing.
You can give the basics, but
give the basics. You gotta put the work in.
You're gonna have to put the work in. And a person who has been there, they can see whether you put the work in.
Oh yeah. And I always tell them, you can't paint a canvas in one stroke. Same thing with music. You have to practice. You're not going to get that. You
gotta practice. You have to practice. Whether it be playing keyboard, whether it be singing, whatever it is, you have to put some time in it. Yeah. And the time, you get out of something just what you put into it. Yeah. I spend, like I said, sometimes 8 hours a day. just practicing, just practicing.
What about the keyboard, that you gravitate towards? What about it? What about the keyboard really made you kind of stick with that instrument?
I really can't put a particular reason why I stuck with that. I mean, I know that if an individual can play keyboards, they can most likely play just about any instrument if they know how to play keyboards. They can, because I don't, and I can't tell you why, because like I said, with my first wife, I was living in Augusta, Maine. And I was working at the University of Maine at Augusta, and in the dean's office, and they offered me and my first wife a scholarship to go to school to go to school.
Sure.
I declined it because the reason why I did is because I know that what I understand, and I realized that the gift that I had came from God, and if I took what they gave me, it would completely erase and eradicate.
You didn't want to change
No,
what that was, the purity from
but
it.
I saw what was coming from the university. I saw the clones.
Yeah.
I saw the guitar players. They all sounded the same.
Yes.
I saw the keyboard players. They all sounded the same.
Right.
And I didn't want to sound like that. Even when I look at even the ones that play in church today, I don't want to I don't want to sound like that. I don't want to sound like that. And the thing about it is those who are successful are unique, are different.
Yeah.
You can't. There's only one James. I had to come to one realization years ago. There's only one James.
Can't be James Brown.
No.
You can like him, but
imitation is the best flattery.
Flattery, right.
But and I understand that there will always be some of him in me because that's who I But you have to be unique, and you have to develop a style of your own, a style that's completely different from the rest. You have to stand out. When you look at shows like American Idol or The Voice,
right.
They're not looking at people just who can do riffs. They're looking at somebody who when they put them on wax, that their voice can be recognizable. When you hear Whitney Houston's voice on wax, you don't have to see her. You know exactly who that is. When you hear James Brown,
right.
when you hear him sing, you know that's the uniqueness that he has. When you hear any artist, Diana Ross, you recognize Aretha Franklin, you recognize that voice, and those voices are recognizable. And what a lot of people don't understand is that. That's what has to happen. You have to go home and you have to see, okay, where can I fit and how can I be different? How can I be different? How can I make people recognize me?
So for you, you look at yourself in the context of the music world and kind of figure out where you are. Like who would you say now you would compare yourself to, or how do you set your
right now I compare myself to me because I try to set myself as unique.
Right.
I have a conglomeration of a bunch of people, but I've taken that all those entities and I've taken them and put them into one and formed my own uniqueness. I had to take, I had to take some from here, some from there. And some, I had to take. Well, you're an artist. You take some from Picasso. You learn a little bit from each one of them. You say, okay, I like this about that. That person. Well, so that's what I've done. I've transposed it into a uniqueness. That's when people hear me,
right.
They know that's me.
That's you, yeah. Now, can you read music? I don't know.
You make me laugh. No, I can't. No, I read. In order for me to be on the road, I had to know how to read chord charts.
Okay.
You know what chord charts
Yes.
are? I had to be able to read chord charts and be able to count. I'm supposed to play this chord right.
Yes.
But from me reading chord charts, I could transpose my music and say, okay, instead of just playing straight chords, I can play, I can play that for that length of time and know the chord. Once I learned, read the music.
Yeah.
But I don't notes.
Right.
Notes, those little black things.
See? I'm not crazy.
Those little black things.
No,
I don't
little
know.
things,
No, I
little
don't know.
squiggly, whatever.
I can figure it out, but you know,
Yeah.
but I don't really know. Like I said, they wanted to give me and my first wife a scholarship in Augusta, Maine.
Yeah.
But I chose not to because I didn't, you know, I worked there and I saw
Yeah.
the clones. I saw them come out.
And you don't, so even to this day, you don't think there would be a benefit now to do that, or it's just, you know,
For me,
you're
no.
set, you're-
For me, no.
No, right?
I would advise anybody who's going to get involved in
Yeah.
music to get involved in learning how to read, and especially classical and jazz.
Okay.
I would advise them to really know how to read and you know, because
Right.
once you know how to play jazz and classical, you'll be able to play anything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even somebody like Lionel Richie will tell you the same thing. You know, Alicia Keys, she will tell you the same thing. Look, play,
Okay.
you know, learn how to play classical and jazz. And once you learn how to play that, you know, that encompasses
Okay.
everything around you. My advice to anybody who's going to get involved in music is to learn how to read. But for me,
you learn the tools, right?
yeah.
Use the
But for
tools.
me, I wouldn't say that it's
You
too
set
late.
your own path.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's too late, but I know where I want to be.
Okay.
So I'm not going to try to, you know, if it ain't broke,
Don't. No, that's right.
if it ain't broke, don't
try
fix
to
it.
fix it.
I mean, I know that, you know,
love
people do certain fingering when they play.
Sure.
I don't do certain. I'm out of the box.
You just go for it.
Well, I don't do the same. I don't
Right.
do the same. You know, they do certain fingering when they play the keyboards.
Okay.
I don't play it the same way. You know.
Now, what about, because now I'm trying to think of the challenge of not reading music if you have a band and they're like, okay, we're going to play this song, and no, you haven't played that song before.
And
How
listen
does
to-
that? You just listen.
Yeah,
And you
listen
can
to-
play it quick.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a daughter, she plays the piano and she plays by ear
Mhm.
and has since she was 3. And she can do that. She can hear a song in the morning, and by the end of the day, she can play this thing.
That's
And
a-
I have
that's
no
a
musical
blessing.
talent whatsoever.
That's
So-
a blessing. It was somebody
It's
in your
amazing to
family.
me.
Somebody in your family. Somebody.
Yeah, in the tree
Somewhere.
way back in the.
Somebody has. Look,
We're all
somebody.
visual artists in my family.
Yeah,
but no, there's some strengths because my brother does have some. You know, he plays a keyboard, and he again played by ear.
Mhm.
Somewhere along he learned to read music though. But I was trying to impress upon her to learn the notes, even though I'm not trying to stifle her. You know, I hear you. You know, there's that thing that's where you're saying. There's that gift you have, and you didn't want to contaminate it.
Right.
You don't want to contaminate
Right.
that gift. And for her, I believe it's the same. Like I don't want that contaminated, but
She
I
has,
do want
she
her
has
to
to be,
have.
she has to be the one to get to the, you know, come to the realization.
Yeah.
I need to, you know, grab a little bit further.
Yeah.
You know, she has to be the one.
Yeah.
But if she's comfortable with you know, you can influence her by saying, you know, honey, I would want you to, you know, why don't you see this, or have this person talk to her, you know,
Right.
have this person play, you know, but
I still want to lose the
ultimately-
importance of it,
Yeah.
but at the same time, what she has is clearly a gift. I mean, it's undeniable. And I don't want to stifle that, and I hear what you're saying about
Oh, yeah.
that whole, you know, not contaminating that gift. And she does have ownership of it,
Mhm.
where it's her ear, and she, like I said, she can hear something and play it. And so I'm identifying with that, to hear that from you, and then to see, like, you know, you have lived your life to that degree, and it's successful for you, and you have that same ownership to this day.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's amazing. I'm like, okay, so you can't.
I don't down on somebody that can read, but
Sure.
but what's good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander.
Right, right.
You see what I'm saying? So, you know, somebody else, their gift may be reading.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read. When I do play something, I'm going to tell you. Sometimes I play by myself. Sometimes I play by myself, and I bring tears from.
Right.
You know, I bring from what I'm doing. I bring tears out of myself.
Sure.
You know, because of the intensity.
Right.
You know, that is put forth. You know. But like I said, my advice to anyone, you know, who's getting involved, who is getting involved in music, learn how to read. You know, that's an added, that's a plus.
Yeah. So in your music, when you play, like you say, you know, it's this personal experience. Is there something that you're trying to impart, though? Is there a message? Is there something like a philosophy that you want to kind of...
There's always, I don't do a song unless it's something that I can make part of me. And unless, I don't just do a song. See, I've written some, I have one country western song that I've written, and I'll probably do it today. It's called Eyes Filled with Wine. But I don't do a song unless I know I can make it believable.
Okay. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If it can't be a part of me, and I can't make you feel what it should be conveyed, then there's no sense in me doing it. There's no sense in me just saying.
It's not a parlor trick.
No.
You're not just okay.
No, I'm just not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that song. And there are people that they play, and that's what they do. They just play,
just
and
playing, right?
But and those a lot of times it's a lot of people who read. They just read and they play.
Mm-hmm. And this is the passion.
And when it gets to the end of the line, they have to go to the
right.
Well,
a little typewriter there.
And there's no feeling to it. But I don't do a song unless I know. And I put it, and I believe in that song, and I can make other people believe that song with me.
Right, you put your stamp on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to switch to have you play something for us.
Okay.
So I can feel some of that.
Well, the song that I'm going to do is a song that I just recently wrote.
Okay.
It's called now I get chilled up just thinking about it. But when you hear the words, you'll and you hear the music, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's called "There'll Come a Time."
Okay.
And it's a song that basically says there'll come a time when you're going to need Him.
Yeah.
When you're going to have to face Him. And we're talking about our Heavenly Father.
Yes.
But this is a song that I wrote a couple weeks ago, and I'd like to share it.
Absolutely. So let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
1, 2. There'll come a time when you'll feel lonely, when the burdens of your life get in your way. There'll come a time when it's you only, a time when you can't stand in the way. Just call His name and He will answer. Just call His name and He'll never let you down. Just call His name, yeah. There'll come a time. There'll come a time when friends will fail you, when the ones you love the most will let you down. There'll come a time when men will jail you, a time when you can't stand on solid ground. Just call His name and He will answer. Just call His name and he'll never let you down. Just call his name, yeah. Oh yeah, there'll come a time. In no other name is there salvation. No other man has paid the price. He gave his life to save the nations and made the perfect sacrifice. There'll come a time when men will praise him, when every knee shall bow and call him Lord. There'll come a time you can't evade him. He is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Just call his name and he will answer. Just call his name and he'll never let you down. Just call his name, yeah. Oh yeah, there'll come a time. Oh yeah, oh, there'll come a time. Oh yeah, hey, hey, there'll come a time. Oh yeah, there'll come a time. 'Cause this is another song that I wrote. It's entitled, God's Got a Good Thing for You. I've jazzed it up a little bit. It goes a little bit like this. Listen, y'all. God's got a good thing. He's got a real good thing for you. Yes, he does. Don't you know my God got a good thing? He's got a real good thing for you. Just hold on and be patient. There's no doubt he's gonna bring you through. Listen, let me sing it again. God's got a good thing. He's got a real good thing for you. God's got a good thing. He's got a real good thing for you. Just hold on and be patient. There's no doubt he's gonna bring you through. Now let me tell you something. You may have been locked in prison, behind prison walls, but there's no doubt about it. My God heard you when you called, 'cause he's got a real good thing. A real good thing for you, yes he does. Just hold on and be patient. There's no doubt he's gonna bring you through. Now let me tell you something else. There was a man named Job, lost everything he had, and though he lost possessions deep inside, he was glad because he knew that God's got a good thing. He's got a real good thing for you. Just hold on and be patient. There's no doubt he's gonna bring you through. You know why? Because he's got a real good thing. A real good thing for you. God got a real good thing. A real good thing for you. Just hold on and be patient. There's no doubt he's gonna bring you through. I think I want to play the thing one time. hand, but little did he know that it was all part of God's plan. Because God got a good thing. He's got a real good thing for you. Just hold on and be patient. There's no doubt he's going to bring you through. Now let me tell you something else. Listen. While Joseph was in prison, God was with him all the way. He brought him to fame and power, and that's all I've got to say, because God got a real good thing for you. Just hold on and be patient. There's no doubt he's going to bring you through. You know why? He's got a real good thing. A real good thing. A real good thing. Yeah, a real good thing. Just hold on and be patient. There's no doubt he's going to bring you through. You know why? Let me tell you again. He's got a real good thing. A real good thing. He's got a real good thing. Just hold on and be patient. God's got a good thing for you. Let me do another song for you. This one is entitled Eyes Filled with Wine. This is a song that I wrote several years back. It goes something like this. I woke up one morning, my eyes filled with wine, my head spinning round and round. I felt beaten all over, couldn't stand to my feet. I was sensitive to the slightest of sound. Strangely enough, I had been there before, but this time was the end of the line. As I laid in discomfort, I thought to myself, as Jesus came into my mind, and I said, Lord, I need you to help me. I'm tired and I'm so all alone. Night after night, I go to bed lonely. In the morning, I wake up alone. Lord, I need you to help me. If you can, please show me a sign. Tired of living my life filled with sin, waking up with my eyes filled with wine. Let me tell you something, listen. My head began spinning as it filled up with pain. I could not even hear myself think, as the stench from my body filled up the room. My breath filled the air with stink. How anyone could love me, I'll never know. But I'm glad for God's mercy and grace. And because of his gift of salvation, I'll be seeking his face. Because I said, Lord, I need you to help me. I'm tired and I'm so all alone. Night after night, I go to bed lonely. In the morning, I wake up alone. Lord, I need you to help me. If you can, please show me a sign. Tired of living my life filled with sin, waking up with my eyes filled with wine. Let me play it. Now listen. I asked the Lord Jesus to cleanse me within. I invited him into my life. I said, Lord, I believe that you died for my sins. I believe that you are the Christ. Right then, a a feeling came over me, a feeling I just can't explain. And now that I have him, I won't let him go. Forever I'll be praising his name, because I said, Lord, I need you to help me. I'm tired and I'm so all alone. Night after night, I go to bed lonely. In the morning, I wake up alone. Lord, I need you to help me. If you can, please show me a sign. Tired of living my life filled with sin, waking up with my eyes filled with wine. Now listen. Now that I have him, I won't let him go. Forever he will be in my life. And I'm so glad that he died for my sins. I'm glad that he paid the price. My soul is happy, my heart filled with joy, 'cause one day I'll finish this race. And I'm so glad for salvation, so glad I've been saved by his grace. I'm glad I said, Lord, I need you to help me. I'm tired and I'm so all alone. Night after night, I go to bed lonely. In the morning, I wake up alone. Lord, I need you to help me. If you can, please show me a sign. I'm tired of living my life filled with sin, waking up with my eyes filled with wine. I'm tired of living my life filled with sin, waking up with my eyes filled with wine. Tired of living my life filled with sin, waking up with my eyes filled with wine.
We just heard some beautiful selections from TT Soul. And I just want to ask a few more questions to you about some of the things that you're currently working on, some of the projects that you're working on. And I know in my hand I have a book of yours.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? And yeah.
Okay, this is a book that this is the first book that I've had published. It's called Ministering to the Incarcerated, What You Need to Know. And this is a book that is beneficial to those who have someone who has been incarcerated, or who's trying to deal with someone who has been incarcerated.
Okay.
And this will give them insight as to how, the things that person that has been incarcerated, the mindset they have.
Right.
Or if it's an individual who plans on going into the Department of Corrections as a volunteer to minister to the incarcerated, this is a book that would be helpful to them.
So almost like some guidelines, or just some kind of.
It's sort of a guide as to how to deal with because individuals who have been incarcerated, the majority have a lot of issues that like even as with mistrust.
Mm-hmm.
Though individuals come in to volunteer to minister to them, you have to realize that those are individuals who are in an environment that reeks of mistrust. And so, and a lot of times individuals go to the services just to get out of the cell, or just to get away from the cell. A lot of them are not interested in religion per se,
Mm-hmm.
but just in a situation where they can meet with individuals that they don't get an opportunity to see, and they can sit and talk with them and chat with them about things that are going on in their life or that they've heard, But this book is a guide for individuals who either have someone that has come out of incarceration and they don't know the mindset, because whether one wants to acknowledge it or not, when you're incarcerated, there's a change that takes place in your life and within you, whether you want it to or not. So when an individual comes back out, it's not the same thing as when they're stuck in a time warp, and they're stuck in the time that they left. So when they left, they didn't get an opportunity to change with the things that changed. Right. So they come back out with the same mindset, and this is why a lot of times individuals come back and want to get involved with the old groups that they were involved with, because this is where they left off.
What is your passion? What made you write that?
Well, I was incarcerated, and when I was incarcerated, I wrote over 40 books.
Okay.
I wrote over 40 books, but this is the first one that I published. I've written over 6,000 poems. I've written over 200 songs. In fact, one of the songs that I'm going to do, that I've done, is called "Eyes Filled with Wine," and that was one of the songs that I wrote. While I was incarcerated, I didn't have access to a keyboard on a regular basis, but because of me being able to know what to have the knowledge of the keyboard, I was able to to be able to see the music and see what I was and know what I wanted to write down instead of having something to write the melody down. I'd write the melody down with note, because like I said, I read chord changes. But that was the inspiration that made me, and all the proceeds that are from this book, they're going towards the Fisherman's Net Prison Ministries, which is eventually I plan on procuring a property to provide affordable housing for individuals who are being released from incarceration. So,
and how challenging it is when
it's very difficult for individuals who, when they come out, it's difficult for them to find employment, to find adequate housing. In fact, when I was released with the clothes on my back, and I was released to a homeless shelter. So because I didn't want to put any burden on any family members or anything. So I was released to a homeless shelter. But God was with. I can tell you right now that God was with me all the way. Most people who make a commitment within the bonds of incarceration to be committed to God, and once they get out, they change that commitment completely. A lot of them do, not all.
Right.
But I made a vow, and right now that's one of the things that I've accomplished. But I also have the television program on this station, the Fisherman's Net. It's going into its first year.
Good, yeah.
And that's going very well. It's an opportunity that God. It's a door that God opened up for me, and I'm grateful for the not to have been incarcerated, but to have the experience to be able to reach out to those individuals who are coming out, or let them know that
need help. There are people who care in that regard. Yeah.
But like I said, all the proceeds that come from the sale of this book, and let me just say that all that I have is offered on a website called ReadyStarPublications.weebly.com.
Okay, I'll make sure I put the link up.
Okay, ReadyStarPublications.weebly.com, and you'll see when you go to that website, you'll see the Fisherman's Net and the Fisherman's Net Prison Ministries, and you'll be able to click on that and find out all the information you need about products that are available. But like I said, all the proceeds, every penny, it goes towards it's aimed at being able to eventually provide adequate housing, affordable housing for individuals who are coming out of incarceration. Because, like I said, I know the
struggle.
The struggle that they have coming back.
I think it's a beautiful marriage of your talent and skill, ability, but then your compassion, and bringing that all together to not only uplift, but then to really have some tangible help. And that's beautiful. Was that always your kind of walk when you were?
Oh no! Well, I can tell you right now that had I not been incarcerated, I probably never would have even thought of doing something like that. But because I met so many good brothers in there that even right now I'm in contact with.
Sure.
But they, it's just it's a passion that I developed because of that. Had I not been incarcerated, no, that's not something that I would have, because I was an entertainer. I was traveling all over, I was traveling. But I thank God for that. Would I have chosen that road to go? No, I wouldn't have chosen that.
Yeah.
But I had to go through that. He knew I had to go through that in order to minister to that.
Yeah.
And he opened all the doors for me to. I mean, it was obvious that he opened. When I came out, I started writing for a newspaper out of in Hartford, a street newspaper called The Beat of the Street. And I was writing for them for a while. I'd write articles, and I had a section called Poetic Interludes. I'd write poems and stuff like that for them. But from there, I graduated. He promoted me to have my own TV show, and it's not only seen in Hartford, but it's seen in Portland, Maine as well, and in Maryland. So he's opened some doors, and I know that eventually, it's gonna blossom into something even bigger than that.
Right.
As long as I stay humble and stay in a position to to be able to receive. He's got those things. He's shown me that he's got those things.
And if it's a pure desire of your heart, those are the ones that are blessed. Come to fruition.
But I'm just so grateful, and so like I said, there's a lot of people that come out that have made vows. But even as I came out, he kept me in good health.
Right.
And as I sit and perform, you'll probably hear about me performing at some different coffee houses and things like that in the very near future. And I invite everybody, that when they hear about that, to come out and support me and come out and because it won't be.
Are you hooked in with social media, Facebook or anything?
No.
None of that, right?
No.
So how would one how would one find out, be in the know of when you're going to be performing, or where?
Well, of course, I'm going to be putting it on this station. I will be putting it as many outlets as.
And when does your program air?
My program airs every Thursday at 3 and every Sunday at 11.
Okay, great.
So Thursdays at 3 on Channel 5 and Sundays at 11, right here in Hartford. But it's a program. It's a program that reaches out to individuals who have been recently released from incarceration, those who are in halfway houses and who are in homeless shelters, and those in general that society has kicked to the curb.
Yeah, I think it's a necessary service. And people who come out, that's exactly what they need. They need to have that.
But it's not a show that takes about. It's not a browbeating show. I do some singing, and then I do an inspirational message and give an invitation to Christ, and that's what He placed on my heart to do, and I know that that it's working out very well, and it's it's doing what it's. He said His word would not return to Him void. So I know that what I'm doing is accomplishing something, and I'd love to hear from people who watch the program. Write me at the Fisherman's Net, P.O. Box 260-361, Hartford 06126. I know you're going to probably put that up.
I will, absolutely.
But you can contact me, and if you want me to perform at an event, give me a call or write me at that address, and I'll be glad to discuss the.
Good. This is what it's about: connecting artists with other artists and providing our services.
But before we even leave, I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, please.
God bless you.
Thank
you for the opportunity to be on your program.
This was wonderful.
Thank you.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Kind of opened my eyes to some things. I was, especially with just that passion of, learning through ear and playing, and then really kind of owning that.
Yeah.
And going forth and all the things that you accomplished by, paving your own way. And that's inspirational.
Well, the reading of the music, that's only icing on the cake,
Right.
That's only frosting on the cake, but that gift that you have, I you know, me, like I said, for me, I wouldn't change it, you know, because
Right.
that's,
No, of course, it made you who you are, and yes, everybody has their role. So thank you again for coming on the show, and this was wonderful.
thank you, Michelle, very much.
This has been Artistic Expressions. With me is TT Soul. It was a wonderful show. Hope you enjoyed it. Always remember to support the arts and your local artists, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you.
Hold your head up, don't give up. You are black gold, you are, you are. Black gold, black gold, black gold, black gold.
Hi, I'm Brady McGuire. I'm a painter. Shout out to Artistic Expressions, and I support the arts.
Shout outs to Artistic Expressions, and I support the arts. This is El Sean Razi.
Hi, my name is Shandia. I'm a model. I'm giving a shout out to Artistic Expressions, and I support the arts.
What's up, y'all? This is Joe Young, writer, cartoonist, film producer. Shout out to Artistic Expression, and I support the arts. Peace.